Hey guys, how are we doing? So we're back with another video from Mother's Basement, and I really liked the Harem Anime Survival Guide. I thought that was really fun, and you guys were like, hey, do all the other PSAs that he's done. So I found his Isekai Anime Survival Guide, and we're gonna check that out. Let's do this. This style is cool. Ye oldie style.
It's a day just like any other.
Even the voice.
You're out for a walk, minding your own business, perhaps headed to your local convenience store, when a truck barrels through a red light and crashes into you. Or maybe you're sitting at a bus stop, playing one of those newfangled electronic games on your smart telephone, when all of a sudden a truck swerves off the street and into the bench. Or perhaps you've wandered into your bathroom, only to find your local tsundere in there, naked. In a fit of rage, she batters your head, leaving you to drown in the bathtub. And then a truck crashes through the wall and runs over.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe a portal opens beneath your feet, or you fall into your television set, or you go to sleep and awaken somewhere new, or a storm hits your house, or you blink and all of a sudden, look, there's a million different ways that it can happen, but they all achieve the same result. You're not in Kansas anymore.
Nope.
You've gone down the rabbit hole. You have entered another world. If this happens to you, it's important to know that you're not alone.
Nope.
In fact, so many people across America have been spirited away to other worlds that the CDC has officially classified it as an epidemic.
My God.
That's right. While it may seem like a result of magic, sufficiently advanced technology, or even the work of your deity of choice, those causes and your present circumstances are merely symptoms of a dangerous disease known as isekaitis.
Isekaitis, love it. That's brilliant.
This disease is caused when strains of the common light novel virus infect and inflame the vestigial isekainum gland. Once an uncommon illness that primarily affected women, in recent years
amazing, love it. So Escaflowne, okay.
Has spread like wildfire, claiming the lives of countless nondescript blank slate type men just like you. So, what can you do about it?
What can you do?
As with any disease, the first step, and the safest, is prevention.
Right.
Avoid
How do you
common
prevent
vectors
this?
of infection, such as massively multiplayer online RPGs,
don't play games. Oh no, put the controller away. Stay away from those.
The free hugs guy at anime conventions.
Oh God, he's everywhere.
Reduce your risk of contracting isekaitis or suffering its symptoms by making your body and environment inhospitable to the disease. If you think that you've been exposed, try putting down the video games, going outside, reading a book without pictures in it,
trucks
or
are
showing
outside.
even the slightest hint of a discernible personality. Studies show that these actions, especially the last one, can reduce your odds of showing symptoms by as much as 95%.
My God, that's
All of
high.
these steps can help, but without a working vaccine, the risk of infection is always there.
Damn.
So, what can you do to manage your symptoms once they start showing?
Please tell me.
And how can you survive in another world?
How? I'm scared now. What if I catch isekaitis?
The first thing you'll need to do is identify what type of isekaitis you've contracted, which you can figure out by looking at the type of world you've ended up in. The original strain, Isekaitis A, is known for sending victims to wholly unique fantasy worlds, awash with creative ideas and concepts. In all honesty, you probably don't have this strain, as the last known case occurred... When was Digimon again? Since Isekaitis A is so rare, we won't be covering it here. However, if you find yourself in a parallel world and you always wear goggles, you can find more helpful advice in public service anime, Caring for Your Collectible Monster. The much more common Isekaitis B mainly affects players of massively multiplayer online RPGs, resulting in them either being trapped in virtual reality or being transported to magical realms identical to their games of choice. Symptoms can affect dozens, hundreds, or even tens of thousands of people at once. Even if you don't immediately recognize your surroundings from the game you were just playing, if one or more people have also been transported with you, then you almost certainly have a case of Isekaitis B. Type C is the most widespread strain of isekaitis, frequently seen among players of offline RPGs, such as Dragon Journey. The Legend of Good Guys, and final fictionalized medieval setting.
Okay.
This variant is known to occasionally transport victims into the worlds of their favorite games, but patients more frequently end up in blatant knockoffs of popular franchises.
Right.
If the first monster you encounter is a generic goblin or imp or a legally distinct variant of this slime, there's a good chance you're dealing with Isekaitis C.
Isekai C,
the world you end up in could resemble other popular media too, such as anime or books. Sufferers of the last known strain, Isekaitis D, short for deconstruction, can end up in any of the aforementioned worlds, but will present additional symptoms upon arrival. These symptoms typically include delusions of grandeur, genre awareness, a general lack of physical ability, and just being kind of an asshole.
I love the whole genre awareness, that's class.
Away the most deadly, so if you think you have it, you'd best pray to the anime pope. While these viruses are the most common source of symptoms, the isekaitis gland can, on occasion, become inflamed by other causes.
Brilliant.
These cases of acute isekaitis will typically clear up on their own in a few days or even hours. However long it takes for you to either learn an ironic lesson, have an enriching, life-changing experience, or die. Also, while they are much less common, the symptoms of time travelosis and flew through a wormhole anoma can sometimes be misdiagnosed as isekaitis. If you suspect this is the case, consult a doctor. Or,
could you imagine going to a doctor thinking you have this?
Computers, you have probably time travel.
Oh, that'd be even funnier.
Lastly, if you have recently arrived in our world from another one, welcome. But also, this is not the video cassette for you. Instead, consult every other video in the public service anime series, and don't forget to join the Church of the Anime Pope. We accept tithes in the form of cash, check, Patreon pledges, and YouTube sponsorships and subscriptions. Now that you've identified your type of isekaitis, you're at last ready to deal with the symptoms and fight your way to recovery, possibly literally. The next thing you're going to want to do is familiarize yourself with the rules of this strange new world. If you're lucky, some sort of god figure will have conveniently appeared before you and explained exactly what's going on in plain English. However,
regardless of what language you speak.
Cases, so we're going to assume that you have no idea what's going on or what you're doing. Looking at you, that seems like a good bet. If you found yourself trapped in a MMO with other players, the first thing you need to do is figure out if you are this guy. You may or may not have this specific face and haircut, but you look very similar, are stronger than everyone around you, and have no personality or loved ones to miss, then you are probably this guy. If you are this guy, please watch the Isekaitis C section of this video for more information about your unique predicament. If you are not this guy, then literally nothing you do matters, so you should just focus on staying alive. You can help yourself immensely with this goal by determining whether or not you will respawn when you die. Obviously, it's a little tricky to test this out on yourself.
Of course. That's very dangerous.
Player in this world. Give it time and someone will end up making a mistake and trying out the respawn system for you before too long. But if you don't have the patience for that, or you're just worried that you might be the guy who accidentally tries it out, all you need to do is find someone who looks emotionally unstable. Encourage this person to go fight some big monsters.
That's horrible.
Jump off a cliff.
No!
There's no way this can possibly be
horrible.
Right? If they come back to life, no hard feelings.
And if they don't?
Well, they can't be mad at you anyway.
No!
If you do not, quote, die for real when you die in the game, then don't worry about it. Have fun in this world just like you would if you were still playing. And enjoy watching a new civilization evolve Lord of the Flies style before your very eyes. If death is permanent, well, you should do pretty much the same thing, except, you know, try a bit harder not to die. If it's a game you've played a lot previously and your character stats have carried over to this new world, then maybe consider doing some light adventuring. Otherwise, stay in towns, let this guy do all the dungeon raiding, and also probably don't tell anyone about that guy you murdered. Now, if you are this guy, or if you've come to this world alone, you've got a bit more to worry about. You can find out much about this new world you've stumbled into by simply heading to the nearest tavern and asking around. But I'll give you a head start. There's a Demon King attacking the world, and you're going to have to kill him. I just saved you about 20 minutes.
It's always the way.
This time, other common symptoms of isekaitis may begin to manifest. You may suddenly discover that you have incredible magical powers, and despite having been a total loser in the real world, you may find that you are suddenly good at, well, basically everything.
Yeah.
And also irresistible to the opposite sex. And whatever geeky minutia you wasted your old life obsessing over will now suddenly be surprisingly applicable to the world you now find yourself
cool.
If you develop magical powers without any of these other symptoms, there's a good chance that you've come down with isekaitis D.
Oh, no.
And you might want to hold back on using those powers, as they probably have some sort of horrible, ironic drawback that you're not yet aware of. But even for a magically imbued teenager with no real flaws, a new world can be an intimidating place.
Yes, it can.
You'll find that you're unfamiliar with local customs and culture, and possibly even the local language. And let's be honest here, you weren't all that good at talking to people to begin with. Now you're alone in a foreign land, surrounded by strangers with no clear purpose or direction in life. A literal world of possibilities is open to you. How can you possibly find your bearings in this overwhelming situation? Just find the first conventionally attractive female who's willing to talk to you, and then follow her forever, letting her act as your guide to this new frontier. Your wholly inexplicable skills with the opposite sex should help immensely in this endeavor. Over time, other quirky characters will join you and the conventionally attractive female as you travel the land, aiding in your adventures by standing at the sidelines and talking about how great you are as you do all the fighting. These companions are generally harmless. But take heed. If the ratio of female to male party members ever exceeds 3 to 1, your life may be in grave danger.
Yes.
Please consult our handy harem survival guide for further advice on weathering that particular storm. You might think that you can just ignore your harem in favor of focusing on the vicious monsters and demons ravaging the world. But such thinking is short-sighted. The only thing scarier than a yandere is a yandere with magic powers.
My God.
On the subject of those powers, your own abilities may be great. It's quite likely, in fact, that they are so strong as to defy all conventional wisdom in the world you've just entered. Almost as though this entire world has been built with the sole purpose of fulfilling your personal wishes. The specific clothing choices and physical features of your female companions may add to this impression. But do not let your guard down. 1 out of 5 isekaitis patients suffer preventable deaths simply because they get cocky and think they're invincible. 2 out of 5 actually are invincible. But do you really want to play those odds?
Yes, let's not risk that.
You might be frightened of dragons, goblins, orcs, and other generic fantasy creatures, but they probably won't give you any trouble. It's your fellow humans, as well as oddly sexy elves and other sentient races, that are your real greatest threat, especially the wizards. Don't fuck with wizards.
No, don't mess with them.
Even if you have all the magical energy in the world, which you very well might,
you probably will.
Won't necessarily do you any good in a fight. Because magic is bullshit. It's tricky, unpredictable, and sometimes wildly inconsistent. A spell that works wonders one day may be totally useless the next. And it can sometimes seem like God himself is arbitrarily changing how magic works at will in order to force events to play out in a certain way. You can't ever fully know what a magic spell will do when it is cast, which can make it very hard to prepare or defend yourself against it. So, if you're smart, you'll avoid fighting with magic in the first place. If you only remember one thing that I've said today, make it this. Don't fuck with wizards. What about the dangerous magical beings that you have no choice in fighting? What about that demon lord and or evil video game developer you've been summoned to this world to defeat? In short, don't worry about it. Isekaitis may be highly infectious, but like all variations of the light novel virus, it progresses slowly. Very slowly.
I love it.
Late-stage symptoms, such as actually confronting the Demon King, can take months or even years to develop. You could go on as many as 10 or 20 self-contained adventures without making any real headway toward defeating or even finding your final foe. And for being the supposed source of all evil, Demon Kings tend to do very little in the way of actual villainy on a daily basis.
Is that the movie Escaflowne, or was that the series? I thought that was the movie they're using clips from.
But studies have shown a correlation between the amount of money earned by individual adventures and the overall duration of symptoms. To put it simply, the more you make, the longer it takes. Recent trials have found some success in treating patients by literally throwing money at them, forcibly accelerating the spread of the disease and defeating the final villain quickly. But it seems as though this approach only pushes isekaitis into remission. Before long, it flares up again, forcing victims to go through the same thing in slightly different settings over and over and over again. Ultimately, it seems like patience is the key to beating this illness. I know it's difficult to hear, and the prospect may seem terrifying, but you're just going to have to keep traveling this magical land of wonder and amazement, surrounded by beautiful, exotic women making loads of money by fighting monsters. You have my condolences. But one day, we will defeat this terrible illness once and for all, and bring an end to isekaitis. So keep up hope, not just for your future, but for all of ours. Unless you have isekaitis D, hope only makes the symptoms worse. This video was paid for and approved by His Holiness, the Anime Pope.
Amazing. These are really good. These are really good. Love it. Brilliant. So yeah, I think I'll do Is Your Daughter a Magical Girl next, and then there's body transformations, so there's like Super Saiyan transformations, or at least on the thumbnail anyway, and stuff. I'll just go through all these, like, because they seem quite fun. They're good, and you guys seem to enjoy them, so yeah, why not? So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below, let me know what you want to discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time. Bye.